Well, welcome in everybody to another mock draft special right here on the Three Technique channel. I'm Trey Reeves, and tonight we are going through a mock draft, full 7 rounds for the New Orleans Saints, a team that has just been a stalwart of consistency in the NFL for the last 15 years or so, ever since Drew Brees and Sean Payton combined for that magical Super Bowl run in 2008, 2009. It's just been a stalwart of consistency for the Saints. They've come up short so many times. It's been a frustrating last few years to the fan base, but now they're kind of at a crossroads. Obviously, a lot of those stars of the past are aging out. They now have some new needs, a lot of needs in the defensive line and offensive line, a desperate need for wide receiver help. They went out and made some big moves this offseason, including getting Chase Young. That's the big highlight, but nowhere near a complete roster, nowhere near a championship level roster. And to make things even more precarious for the Saints, just 2 picks inside the top 150. After pick 45, they have to wait all the way till pick 150 in the 5th round to make their third selection of this NFL draft. 9 picks total. And let's get into it. We're going to do, again, all 7 rounds here. New Orleans Saints. And right off the bat, we will see we're waiting till pick 14. Easy start off the bat. Like I said, top needs here for the Saints: offensive line, defensive line, and wide receiver. Maybe if a quarterback falls to us, we get interested. But right off the bat, we have an opportunity to pick up some picks here. And we're at pick 14. Like I said, not a lot of draft capital for the Saints. And I'll move myself over here as we can, so you guys can see this offer that came in from San Francisco. So pick 14 for 3163, 94 and a second in 2025. We're going to wait on that. We'll see a couple more offers here. We know no more offers rather. So we're going to hide that one for now. Let's see who's on the board. Tight end, a sneaky need. Jared Verse would be a really nice pickup for the Saints here. He would pair amazingly well with Chase Young. Let's look at the wide receivers that are on the board as well, and the offensive lineman. Brian Thomas, the local product. I think 14 might be a little too high for him, but we've got Troy Fontenot and Amarius Mims, two just absolute dudes at the offensive tackle position. JC Latham there as well. I don't think you could go wrong with Verse, Fontenot, or Mims. I think all three of those picks would be fantastic for the Saints. But you know what? While we're here, let's just see if we can get a little bit more out of the 49ers. They are moving up to, they're moving up almost half of a round after all. So we'll see if we can get some more picks this year. We'll add 132 to give us another pick, and we'll see what happens. Gets rejected. So I know we need picks. I know we need to pick up some more picks here in the mid rounds for the Saints. That's what I would be doing if I was in the front office, but not gonna get lowballed there. We're not gonna waste our time and get lowballed. We're gonna stand in here and take who I think might be the best edge prospect in this draft, and it is Jared Verse. I think he is a fantastic player. He will pair nicely with Chase Young this year and just be a fantastic pickup for the long-term health of the Saints. Now, we're waiting till pick 45 now. We're going to see a lot of players that obviously the Saints would love to have fall for them fall off the board. Wide receiver has a big tier break coming up. We have a bigger tier break, I think, at the edge position. And I think we can find some value at the offensive line position as well. So we're back on the clock. Now, here's an interesting proposition from the Steelers, as we are offered pick 51 and 98 for our pick 45 here. That seems like a really good deal for the Saints. I'm going to see if we can get 119 thrown into this as well, and we'll kick back 175. We'll see if that uh, is something the Steelers would like to do. They don't. I'm okay with this trade for the Saints. I'm going to go ahead and trade back because we need help. We need more picks if we're the Saints. Again, between 45 and 150, we are not picking if we're the Saints. So Chargers are on the phone here. I don't like that move back for the Saints. 64 and 95. not really worth it to move back 13 spots. But you know what? We'll see. We'll see who's on the board. Maybe we don't like who's on the board here. Michael Penix is going to be a fascinating decision for the Saints because I do think he'll be on the board at 45. Maybe Derek Carr has a few more seasons down in New Orleans. I don't know what the long-term health is. Could this be a situation? I know he's a little bit more, a little bit older. He's a little bit less likely to be a slam dunk pick. But if you're using your second round pick on Michael Penix, or if you pick up a third, like we just did in this trade, would you consider that if you're the Saints? I'm not going to take him here at 51. I'm looking really hard right now at Xavier Legette, a big time playmaker at South Carolina in the SEC. We need some more explosive plays if we are the Saints. Chris Olave cannot do this by himself. And I know Rashid Shaheed is a great role player at the receiver position, but I think they just need a lot more help. We're going to take Xavier Legette here, a really nice wide receiver prospect, and he's going to slide in immediately as the wide receiver 2 on the New Orleans Saints. Now a much shorter wait between our second and third picks because of the trade. Again, we picked up pick 98 as a result of that last trade, trading back 6 spots. I think that's a really good decision for the Saints if something like that were to happen. We just need draft capital if we are New Orleans. Can't rebuild without the capital. So we'll see what comes up here. We're coming down to the wire here. Will Shipley to the Cowboys. Not that he would have been a prospect I think the Saints take. I think they're pretty set at running back after taking Kendre Miller last year. But lots of options here as we get to this pick 98. No trade offers, so we will stand in here and make the pick. Johnny Wilson was available to us at 98. I was a little worried he would be gone. There's a clear tier break at the wide receiver position after Johnny Wilson in my mind. So I was a little worried. That was one of the reasons that I felt like we needed to take a receiver at the last pick rather than look at offensive line. I'm looking specifically, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit here at Blake Fisher. I think he's a good tackle prospect. Is he a can't miss guy like you're going to get in the first round? No, I don't think so. And if you want to rethink what we did in the first round now, not take Jared Verse because there's some other guys available here, and there's maybe a little bit more depth at that position. That's an okay position to take. I don't mind that. Hindsight being 2020, maybe we should have taken a tackle in the first round, but I do like Blake Fisher here. I like his tape a lot coming out of Notre Dame. Notre Dame is just a school that churns out offensive linemen like no one's business. So we're going to take him here at 98. A little bit of a reach here with Pro Football Network's rankings, but I think he's a little underrated in their rankings. So we now begin the massive wait unless we see a prospect that we really feel like we need. I don't see that here in the fourth round, but we do have the capital. I'll just pause right here because as the Eagles are on the clock, we have the capital to move up if we see a prospect that we really like. I like Tanner Bortolini, but the Saints are set at center. We don't really, with Eric McCoy, we really don't need to trade up for a center right now. You know, Mason McCormick from South Dakota State, a small school kid who really played a vital role on that FCS national championship team. He was the anchor of that offensive line at the guard position. Maybe if he falls a little bit longer, we think about trading up for him. But there's just no one on the board right now that I'm really excited to trade up for. We're at 120, we're 30 picks away. We definitely could trade up if we wanted to. But we're going to sit tight and let the draft kind of come to us for right now. Michael Pratt would have been a fantastic quarterback prospect to take, a homegrown kid out of Tulane. If he would have fallen to us with one of the picks in the fifth round, that would have been fantastic, but not in the cards. So we're in the fifth round now. Let's take a pause real quick and just take a look. Let's see if there's anyone we want to try to move up a few spots for. We're at pick 141. Tyler Davis, the talented defensive tackle out of Clemson, he would be a great pickup. Layden Robinson came on the scene so hard and fast as a freshman. If you're a fan of SEC football, you know that he was getting called a war daddy. You know that he was supposed to be the next big offensive lineman from Texas A&M, and then things just really didn't pan out. I think he has a lot of talent. I wouldn't be against the Saints taking a flyer on him in the 5th round here, especially with a huge offensive line need. And the last offensive lineman you took out of Texas A&M ended up being a pretty dang good one in Eric McCoy. So Layden Robinson is a good target. Isaiah Adams, a guard out of Illinois. Zach Zinner obviously had the horrific injury in the Ohio State game this year. But when he's back healthy, he's going to be potentially a steal in this draft. So I think there's enough guard talent here that we can kind of let the draft come to us. We have a few more picks. And as these tick down, we see that we made the right decision. Isaiah Adams does go off the board, but lots of options here. Even Tyler Davis. Tyler Davis would be an interesting prospect here at 134. Layden Robinson, Zach Zinner. Those are my two options. We're going to take Tyler Davis here, actually, because defensive tackle is a big need for the Saints as well. We might move up from 168 if one of those guards goes off the board here. We'll see how long that takes. And it took immediately. Layden Robinson goes off the board at 151 as the Vikings trade up for him. We're going to make a call to Jacksonville here. And we're going to see if we can't get up to 153 from 168. So we're going to offer 168. We'll throw in 239. And we'll see if Jacksonville will move back. It's rejected. We'll try one more time before moving on down the list. What do you guys want? 190? Sure. We'll try 190. And that's accepted. So we're back on the clock. We are going to take Zach Zinter. That is going to be our pick here. The Rams want to move up one pick. What do you guys want out of that pick? I don't think we want to risk that. So we'll see if they end up taking a guard, but we're going to take Zach Zinner, and I think that is a really, really solid pickup for the offensive line. He might not be ready this year. It might have some injury ramifications still from his late season injury, but long term, I think that is a really solid piece for the Saints. So we're now waiting till 170. LA wants to trade again. I think we're at the point in the draft where we're not really interested in trading, but let's see who we got on the board. Maybe we don't like the board. Gabe Hall, the defensive tackle out of Baylor, really interesting prospect. Jared Wiley, the tight end. Tight end's kind of a sneaky need for the Saints. Taysom Hill is not a conventional tight end, obviously. And Juwan Johnson is a huge body that can step up in big moments, but I wouldn't be against the Saints taking a tight end here. Tommy Eichenberg, the linebacker of Ohio State, tackling machine. It's really interesting because I think you've done a good job so far of taking the needs of the Saints. As we just want to look over our results real quick. We got Jared Verse in the 1st round. We got Xavier Legette in the 2nd round. Blake Fisher in the 3rd after a trade back. Tyler Davis and Zach Zinner on the defensive and offensive lines, respectively. And now I think we're kind of in a position where we can take the best player available. And I do think that might be Jared Wiley, the tight end out of TCU. Let's get him in that tight end room and let's develop him alongside the guys that we've got. So 2 more picks here. 3 more picks, excuse me. So we're at 175. LA just really wants to trade with us for some reason. Not sure why, but more power to him. And Josh Proctor, the safety out of Notre Dame, is a really good prospect here. Safety is not really a huge need for the Saints, so we'll pass on him right now. Cedric Johnson, the edge from Ole Miss, really fun prospect out of the SEC. We can't have enough edge help. I'm going to take him here at 175. I think that's a good value. Now we wait for 199, and we see that a lot of these guys that we were thinking about are coming off the board. I'd like to see if we could get another wide receiver value here. I'd also like to see if there's a developmental quarterback prospect that we like. As like I mentioned earlier, Derek Carr's days are numbered. He's not going to be the quarterback there forever. We're at 199, so let's just peek here at our options. Jaquan Jackson out of Tulane, local guy, would be really fun here. I love Sione Vaki as a athlete. He played a lot of both ways for Utah this fall when the Utah offense was really sputtering. So, Jaquan Jackson would be cool here. Carson Steele as a running back. We don't really need a running back, like I mentioned, but Carson Steele is a very talented prospect. Xavier Thomas, the edge out of Clemson, is currently the best player available, but we've already kind of gotten our edge position taken care of. We're going to take Jaquan Jackson. Again, a fun prospect out of Tulane, a smaller school, but he could be a really fun developmental project for this offense. And now we've got one more pick in the 7th round, pick 239. And this is where you can kind of just, a lot of teams will use this as an opportunity to take a guy that they don't want to see fall to undrafted free agency. So what I'm looking for here is that potential developmental quarterback prospect. Can we hit the lottery like the 49ers did with Brock Purdy famously in the 7th round a couple of years ago? Just a few more picks. We're going to see these quarterback prospects. Sam Hartman of Notre Dame might be that guy. Devin Leary also showed flashes a lot at NC State before he moved to Kentucky. Something was just off there. Perhaps he's a guy. Jason Bean, if you like a more mobile guy, was a really fun prospect at Kansas the past few years. He was the backup quarterback, but when he was called upon was fantastic in relief. We're going to take Sam Hartman. This guy has an NFL caliber arm. I don't know if he'll last to the 7th round on actual NFL draft day. I think someone's going to take a flyer on him before. But if the Saints are in a position where they have not drafted a quarterback and they come to this pick at 229 and Sam Hartman's still there, they would need to take Sam Hartman, in my opinion. So let's wrap it up here, guys. Let's take a look at the full results. Again, Jared Verse in the 1st round. We stand in and make that pick. We trade back to pick up pick 98, 45 to 51. At 51, we take Xavier Legette, the wide receiver from South Carolina, to get some more explosive plays on offense and defense. Blake Fisher is our offensive tackle pick at pick 98 from our pick that we picked up. Tyler Davis is at 150. Zach Zenner at 153. Jared Wiley, the tight end out of TCU, at 170. Cedric Johnson, the edge from Ole Miss, at 175. Jaquan Jackson, the wide receiver from Tulane, at 199. And Sam Hartman rounds out our picks at pick 239. Guys, if you're a Saints fan, let me know how I did. Let me know what you would think of the grade that you would give me for this draft. Again, lots of needs for the Saints, lots of needs to retool, but not a lot of draft capital coming into this draft. Let me know what you would have done differently in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe to see all of the mock drafts we have coming up for you, as the draft is just weeks away. We'll see you guys next time.
Gracious, how about